Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for February 14th. Oh, it's Lover's Day. All right. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for the 14th of February. Let me tell you, holidays today, Ferris wheel day. Uh, works great in the winter up here, that's for sure. National Organ Donor Day, and it's Valentine's Day. Yes, I know. I'm just kidding. Happy Valentine's to everybody out there. I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day as well as a wonderful Valentine. So I enjoyed that. No birthdays today, though. Well, technically, Viscera's birthday's today, but he passed away in 2014. But he would have celebrated a birthday today as well. Hey, interested in roller derby? You want to be a skater? Officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at Derby Rock Derby recruitment at gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby for the men's team. Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. We appreciate all the help on the Yellow Volunteer season is gearing up, as they say. And hey, welcome to the show. We got everyone's here. I'm the cast man. I'm your humble host. I'm here with DC Dan Cole from NC. DC, I see your hair is flowing. It must be warmer today, huh?
It's always a little bit warmer in my office because it's on the second level. So, and
I
it's funny you mentioned that today's organ donation day. I feel like there'll be a lot of organs being donated today.
Yes, yes, I understand that completely. And also, we're joined by the artiste Rob Sanderson. Sorry, Rob Sanderson, formerly known as the artiste. Rob from Parts Unknown Rochester. Rob, how are you doing today, sir?
If I'm here, I'm doing well. Good morning.
You are here. All
I
right.
am here. All right.
Welcome.
I'm digitally here.
Yes, welcome to the show. I'm guessing is the AEW show in Australia over already? I think it is.
I believe so.
Yes.
I don't want to check, but it should be finishing up at least. It's
But
8:30.
it is going to
Yeah.
be on TV tonight. Uh, biggest collision show I think in its history. And we'll talk about that, a little rundown of that, because it is a pay-per-view quality rundown as well on that show. So you definitely don't want to miss that. But there's a whole bunch of things we want to talk to today. I'm going to dabble through. We'll talk a little bit about Bron Breakker injury. We've got Dynamite was an interesting show this past week, and I definitely want to have a few things I want to talk about. Royce Keys. Well, I saw Royce Keys on the side of a milk carton. Because we weren't sure where he disappeared to. TNA No Surrender last night, as well as TNA is coming locally to where we are in Western New York, except for DC. They'll be coming up in April, so that's very exciting news. But we are rolling into we're just about halfway through February. Isn't that amazing? Where's this year going by? It's a mind blower. But Rob, how's everything? How are you doing today? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm here. I am looking forward to some more Olympic hockey this weekend, even though it'll be nice once we finally get to an actually competitive game on the men's or women's side. Because USA crushed Canada the other day.
Yeah,
Um,
5-0, man. That was sweet. But
yeah, that was
by the way,
the
and
least competitive US Canada women's hockey game of all time.
have you
So
have you been following any of the other sports? I watched this incredible curling competition yesterday between the United States and Canada. And apparently, the Canadian guy tried to cheat a little bit or something because he like flicked the stone with his finger as he was releasing it, and actually was penalized for that. But we did, it was. I've been getting into all these different sports since even figure skating yesterday was very exciting. So I mean, I love the Olympics. The Olympics are great. They're on all the time. And I usually have I've got like multiple monitors at work, so I've got one up with the Olympics on it at all time. But yes, I cannot wait for hockey. Like maybe Canada versus the U.S. may happen. It will happen, I'm guessing. But there's
I mean, yeah, there's only been one time it hasn't happened, and on the women's side in the gold medal game, I don't know what's going to happen on the men's side. You would hope through the playoff rounds that it does happen. I mean, that's a collision that needs to take place, and would obviously be huge viewership. It's a lot different with all the NHL players playing. I do think the USA roster looks as good as it ever has for the Olympics, but I mean, I don't really expect them to be tested a ton today or tomorrow with Denmark and Germany, but we'll see what happens.
I know I was watching Finland and I can't remember who it was, Switzerland, I think, and they were getting into it, man. There was some physicality going on, a couple pull apart fights during the game and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Yeah, no, there's always bad blood with the US and Canada women. There was a little skirmish after one of the goals the other day, and yeah, so I mean I expect those teams to meet again, which is always one of my favorite games, Olympics or not. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now. Not a
Yeah,
ton of
yeah.
wrestling stuff like in the region right now. Still looking for GCW 2 weeks from yesterday, and then ESW on March 13th. And then as hopefully it gets warmer, it'd be nice if we get a few more degrees up today, then we can get into more indie wrestling shows and stuff happening as well. So
Definitely, definitely. Well, I was going to say I'm looking forward to tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning is when the women's 500-meter short track speed skating is going on, and because of my roller derby connection, the gold medal winner from the last Olympics will be defending the title on Sunday, which is very exciting because after Aaron Jackson won the gold last year, we got a chance to hang out with her and do some interviews for that show and stuff. And so, of course, we're rooting because of the roller derby connection, but also Aaron Jackson's like all over these commercials too, man. She's making some good money with these sponsorships. So, yeah, I'm
yeah, and it's
excited.
nice to see all the. I mean, we got tons of Rochester connections with the USA teams in different sports, and I mean, for me, it's been awesome. Even just seeing like Kendall Coyne's whole family there in the stands and stuff for all these games.
Yeah.
Little Drew being kind of the star fan in the crowd, and again, absolutely crazy because I've known her since she was on the under 18 team,
Yeah.
and
I was
now
gonna say,
she's a mom and
oh,
scored 2 goals in the second period yesterday, and I don't know. I mean, hopefully this is not her last Olympics, but I don't know.
wasn't her family on Good Morning America or something too? The
I
uh,
didn't see that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. So Mad Dog's in the chat room and he says he can't wait for Lithuania versus Brazil in flag football next year. Flag football is a sport that will be coming to the next the Summer Olympics. So
I
yeah,
don't think I knew that.
yeah, it is. And actually NFL guys are thinking about playing flag football. So I think it's interesting.
Well, at
And
least I mean, it's during the off season. It's not. It's pretty close to the start of the NFL season, but at least it's not in the middle of the season. So
oh, that's true. And it's after that stinker of a Super Bowl we got last week,
so bad.
yeah. Well, I mean, we all got our wishes, we didn't want New England to win, and that's kind of what happened. So,
Speak for yourself.
oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You don't want Seattle winning on enemy territory, and that's what it was. But I mean, believe me, they didn't look that great either for a while, So it was 12-0 halftime score. You've got 2-0. You're the big winner of the halftime score. So, which I did not.
Just thinking of it now reminds me of the 2005-2006 Buffalo Sabres and how they got to the conference finals. They got into the playoffs and could have won it all, but then didn't advance to the championship game. And then there's two teams that don't really. I'm not gonna say don't deserve. I mean, they made their way there, and I do think like the Seahawks roster on paper is solid, but that New England team had no business being in the Super Bowl. Fair and square, they made it there, but I don't think they were going to beat anybody in that game, whether Seahawks or whoever.
Especially after
Um,
that Denver, championship game, which was just a stinker. That was,
yeah,
the AFC came limping into the Super Bowl, and it was like,
yeah.
it's, so be
There's no
it.
guarantee the Bills would have won, but I do think that
They would have scored more.
things in some ways could have gotten easier for them after the Denver game.
Oh man, especially yeah.
So
I mean, they won in New England this year. You know, the second time they played New England, they won in New England. So that wasn't something that would have been a difficult thing to do. And I think
New
also,
England's got a ton of potential and stuff. And again, props to them for making it all the way
yeah,
there and stuff. But they're not. That's a team that literally any other team in the league could beat.
yeah.
Not saying they definitely would, but they're not a team that's significantly better than anybody else.
And Drake May played like a second year quarterback. He did not. He
Yeah.
made some terrible passes in that game. So let's talk about some stuff in the world of pro wrestling. Okay, I want to first off start off. I mean, it's the top of the list is talking about Bron Breakker injuring himself a week and a half ago on Monday Night Raw, flipping a table and breaking a hernia doing it, and taking him out of the plans for WrestleMania now, which I'm guessing he was probably going to be in a prominent position. It's interesting. I think things are starting to fall apart for WWE because as
To see it.
DC posted, they aren't selling very well at WrestleMania, and things they're trying to change to make it sell more isn't really helping when the ticket prices aren't changing. Except for, did get word today that they're doing a 25% off or something like that if you buy 2 tickets. So they are
Only
trying.
this weekend.
Yeah, it's only this weekend. So
President's Day weekend sale.
yeah, so that'll be the
Um,
first of the sales to happen before WrestleMania. But, I mean, Bron Breakker is one of the obviously the up and coming guys in WWE, and it would have been great. They've been booking him perfectly. Unfortunately, he got hurt. I mean, he lands on his head and doesn't get hurt, so apparently he just can't flip a table. But I knew kids like that when I was little. We used to wrestle, and they would land on their head and like, shake it off. It's like nothing. And he did that a few times, but it was it's going to hurt their booking. They've already scrambled some of the things they were planning on doing because they think it's based on the ticket sales people don't want to see. I think it's based on having WrestleMania 2 years in a row in Vegas. It has a lot to do with it. And yeah, like I said, DC posted this great video of this guy just kind of like doing his Triple H impression and and
Very, very good Triple H impression.
I could hear him too. I closed my eyes and it was like, yeah, that he sounds perfect. But basically, he complains everything we complain about with WWE right now, which is ticket prices, that they're not making new stars as well, and then when they do make new stars, they write them off very quickly or, have stupid thing. Last night, I'm watching SmackDown. I swear, every match had interference in it the whole night, 3 hours of matches. And there was like, people from the back coming out and interfering every single time. And it's like, you're just, to me, that's like, treading water. You're just like, oh, we're not moving forward, but we're not moving back. It's just creative. Yes, creative has problems. And, that's neither here nor there. But, it's a shame that someone like Bron Breakker has to have a hernia surgery, which could keep him out 6 months if possible. Yeah, he might pull a John Cena in 2 months and like make an appearance. But, I mean, I think that, they booked him correctly. They just, he's just a little bit of a loose cannon when he's wrestling, and sometimes maybe that's why that happens. I don't know, but you have any thoughts on that, DC? This
He's still just a very raw talent.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like I watched the clip of him flipping the table. I'm like, didn't seem like anything was there.
yeah,
So now
serious.
immediately I'm like, okay, is WWE serving us? Because, ever since a certain injury angle, you can't trust WWE anymore.
You are correct. Yeah,
But no, yet as far as, limping into this WrestleMania season, yeah, lack of creative, ridiculously expensive ticket prices, going back to the same venue you were at last year.
yeah,
Like when I used to go to WrestleMania every year, a lot of the appeal was it was going to be somewhere new each year. Or it wouldn't at least go back to the same venue the next year. They'd wait 5, 6, 7 years to go back. And it also doesn't help them that after doing back-to-back Vegas shows, they're having the next WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. So,
oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They're doing a lot of shooting themselves in the foot, but don't worry, they'll make an announcement about how much money they made and they'll be happy. And
Yeah.
That's
Because
about it.
yeah, like the dude said, the prices are so high now, they have to make more money every year, even if they don't sell out the place because the prices are
Yeah.
so high.
Announcing you have the largest gate is just an indication of how much more you're charging people.
Yeah, yeah, and then their big focus last night in video was the WWE Worldwide Store during WrestleMania week. Oh, yay, more ways to spend your
Yeah.
money that you don't have, But also, you make some good points there. Remember, they also did announce that they were going to be in New Orleans this year, and then 4 weeks later rescinded
Pull the
that.
rug out from those people.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they've got a lot of problems going on right now. I don't know what the corporate thinks of what's going on right now, but I guess there's a lot of fans who are just being very picky though on because I guess Triple H made an announcement about being in the MetLife Center for the first time in 30 years, and all the fans out there go, wait a second, they did a bunch of house shows there in 2018, and it's like so they're beginning, they're being nitpicky on these announcements that Triple H has been making, which
Oh, the United Center.
yeah, the United, that's right, the
Uh,
United Center, yeah, that's like it's like, we haven't been there since SummerSlam. What was it, 26 or something? I don't know. It was like 30 years ago.
SummerSlam '94 was there
Yeah.
with Brett and Owen in the best cage match of all time. But yeah, they made a big deal out of going back there. I think when I was still in Chicago. But I don't know, maybe that wasn't televised or something. But
Yeah, that's so people are just, but they're, they're just, waiting for mistake after mistake to happen. Rob, what do you think of Bron Breakker? I mean, such a young guy too. And it's like, obviously he was brought up because of his lineage and his look, it wasn't because of his skill so far. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen very limited Braun Breaker stuff. I have not seen this table flipping, so I can't judge that. But I don't know. I mean, even thinking about like the way he speared that vlogger influencer, whatever, and was at the Rumble last year.
what's his name?
Um,
Speed something
yeah,
or
High
yeah,
speed.
yeah.
high
Like
speed? Yeah.
to me, it wasn't like he looks like a believable pro wrestler who can kick the crap out of anybody, but like also like that spear was a little. I mean, that could have absolutely injured anybody with it too. I mean, it was just like, okay, like what can you do where you're not absolutely actually killing your opponent as well? And again, I haven't seen enough of his matches,
More
but from what
athletic
I've seen of him,
Goldberg.
he wasn't somebody that like struck me as like, oh, this is the guy that I would really like more than somebody else in that potential main event scene or whatever. So I don't know how popular he is with the crowd, but to me, like I don't know, the limited amount I've seen him, it doesn't convince me that he has the speaking skills and like that kind of character charisma to be the guy there yet. Compared to other people they have that experience. I mean, maybe is he still with Paul Heyman?
He is. He is.
Yes.
So Heyman can talk for him at least. So at least he's got that.
And
But
he also did a Steiner Math promo backstage. I don't know, it was a month
I
ago
think
or
I saw a
something.
clip of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So far they have nothing original for him. If
Shocker.
good old Steiner Math. So
Does he like is he being booked like a Goldberg or something, or does he have like competitive back and forth, slow it down matches with people? Because
so far they've
I
been protecting themselves from long matches with him. I mean, obviously, when he was when they were in the cage with Punk and he landed on top of his head in the middle of the match and then did it again. There's been, he's, I don't think he's had any like long-term great matches, but he's, like I said, he's just a kid still, I mean, but but he was like in their plans for what was coming up. I mean, obviously they must have known going into the Royal Rumble because he got taken out of the Royal Rumble right before the match started, before he was like number one coming or number two coming out, and he got taken out, and then Obafemi just threw him over the top, and it was like, so that besides everyone betting on him to win, which really probably pissed off people in Vegas because people do bet on this stuff, and he seemed like the odds-on favorite to win it at that point. They must have known something was going on with him, and maybe just throwing the table up was the last straw to that hernia that was going on, because it was a pretty serious hernia operation, they said. And hernias are something you just can't come back early from. They're because they can be retorn and stuff. I have a friend of mine who had double hernia surgery and he was out quite a while. So it was that so I don't know, it's like I feel bad for the guy, but hey, he was getting pushed to the moon and just maybe it was his style that which he got the hernia from, because if someone gold bricks you and doesn't like help you get up, then you have to use all your own muscle to do it. And I'm guessing, where the hernias usually take place are down in the rib cage, lower rib cage, stomach area. So he probably, maybe he was just, doing inappropriate ways to do things, and then did it. But nevertheless, he's out. So it's so now it leaves. And the funny thing is we were talking about the Mania buildup, and they had Roman Reigns come out and choose. He won the Royal Rumble, so he got to choose who it was, either Drew McIntyre or CM Punk, and he picked CM Punk. And there's so many people that are critical of that because Drew McIntyre looks like an Adonis. CM Punk does not. Wouldn't you rather have a matchup of two guys that are like, these 6'3", 6'4" guys that are just like muscle head to toe and stuff? But some people have been very critical about that decision, though. I will say that the promo was great that Roman Reigns cut on him, saying how much he hated him for a long time, and but there's no bad guy in this right now in this matchup, so it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. They do have another pay-per-view, obviously, before then. But I want to jump into now something else. I want to talk about Dynamite this past week. Dynamite. What a great show. I mean, 2 title changes on Dynamite this past week, and one in overtime. That's the one that disturbed me the most. Tekla beating the champ. Man, it was a strap match, and Tekla is a bit smaller stature than Statlander. What'd you think of the this past week's Dynamite? I mean, obviously they're building up for what's going to happen today. I mean, there's a lot, but what'd you think of that?
Um, it feels weird to say, but this was to me, it was not in a bad way, like I've said many other times, but it was a little predictable to me. I actually was not surprised by um especially the women's title change. Um, I I think it was a very good Dynamite. I think that Tekla, there's been so much hate online for Tekla winning that match. And obviously like I still would like to see, like I don't want this to have Statlander drop off or anything like that. And they could have done more with Statlander while she was champion, but to me, like they've built up Tekla very well for that match. And especially like going into this week, I told somebody, I was like, there's going to be 2 or 3 title changes this week. We've already got 2, and we'll see what happens tonight. I'm not as confident with the stuff tonight, but I think Tekla has been booked really well since she came in. I mean, she was immediately established as somebody who anybody on the roster should be scared of. She's picked up the big wins, and to me, she's a good heel champion to have. I that division having Statlander, Willow and Harley as all the belt holders was too babyface for me. And really, obviously the tag titles are on the line tonight, where the only thing that would make me hesitate at all to think that Megan Bain and Penelope Ford would take the titles is the Australia aspect, but I don't think that's enough. I still, right now, still I haven't had any caffeine yet today or anything, but I will still say that I think there'll be a women's tag title change there. There should be, the way that, I mean, Megan's been around for a while at this point. It's time for her to finally hold some gold there. But Tekla, I mean, to me, it was perfectly done. The only problem I had with that match was the camera angle when Tekla is tying the strap behind Statlander's back, and you could tell it's not staying there at all.
Yeah.
And they kind of stayed on that shot for a minute. It was like she could move her hands, but she's holding them there like she needs to, or whatever. Takes a stomp, whatever. But no, I'm looking forward to Tekla as a champion, and I think it doesn't really hurt Statlander because there was that little bit of interference or distraction in the match. And I will also say that I, in terms of the TNT title, uh, I didn't love seeing the match announced of Champa and uh like Kyle Fletcher. I don't think it was going into that. I didn't want to see either one of those guys lose a match. And you knew one of them was going to have to lose. They go out there and put on a match of the year contender,
Yeah,
an
that was
absolute banger of a
yeah.
match. And whoever wins and loses that match, it doesn't matter because they both looked incredible in that match. Yes, it was a very short title reign for Champa, but he can move on to something else. He's already established as a top guy. He had a couple of really incredible matches fighting for the title and defending the title and stuff. And it was unpredictable to most fans on that. I couldn't see them giving Kyle Fletcher just a loss there. Um, Giving Kyle Fletcher the win without any interference actually happening was great.
Yeah.
Champa still looks like $1 million after that match. I don't think it hurts him at all. I think the key now is you have to immediately follow up and put him right back into something else at this point. I don't think he needs to go back for this title, for the same title. I think there's a million other things you could do with him, but it further cements Kyle Fletcher. I don't know. Do they? Oh yeah. So then he's
Fletcher
wrestling
cut. Yeah, he
it's
cuts
him
a
and Briscoe in the
promo.
ladder match tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
he did an open challenge after the match was over and Briscoe came out. So yeah.
I had a bigger problem with Mark Briscoe challenging than I did with
Yes. Yes.
Kyle Fletcher winning.
Yes.
Like, can we just be done with this, please?
No, when he says open challenge, and then as soon as you hear the Jay Briscoe voice on the entrance music, it's just like I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know I audibly said something like, "Come on," like,
You were hoping
that,
for someone else to come out too, right? And maybe someone else to challenge too.
yeah, yeah. It's that. I mean, that being said, like Fletcher will beat Briscoe tonight. It'll supposedly end that feud, which is good. I know it's going to be a great ladder match. I mean, that's the thing is I hate to complain about it from an aspect of like that'll be a really good match on television tonight, but I'm looking forward to that feud being done, and I think like they need to move Mark Briscoe in a different direction at this point. I don't know what that is, but not with Fletcher and the TNT title for now. Um, so Fletcher necessarily he wouldn't be my top choice to take that belt. But put all that aside, like getting that match on Wednesday makes any of those decisions worth it because it was
Do you
so
think
good.
this is just really essentially a make good by AEW and Tony Khan on Kyle Fletcher missing his big crowning achievement when
Last year,
Adam Cole went down with the injury?
maybe. Um, I don't know. It's going to be interesting tonight because like I don't know. Obviously, we're not in an era of clear cut baby faces and heels. The aspect tonight of Fletcher goes back into he is from Sydney, right? So it's an actual hometown, not just home country. Um, he's gonna get cheers tonight. And do you want that? Do you want him teasing I don't think he should go face anytime soon, but um this is going to make him he's going to look like even more of a star tonight walking out with the belt in his hometown to cheers as a bad guy. And I mean he's skyrocketed so much in the past year. I think he's somebody that the booking hasn't necessarily been perfect, but for everybody that criticizes the booking in that company, he is a new star that has been built up very well there. And I love seeing that. I don't want to just see the retreads and people, winning the world title over and over again and stuff like that, or just bringing in ex WWE guys or whatever the case is. Like to me, he always had a ton of experience outside of AEW, but he's an AEW homegrown talent as far as I'm concerned at this point. No regular wrestling fans in the United States knew who he was before AEW, and that's the right way to go about it is to have these stars that you're building up and stuff. So again, I think Ciampa's had 3 matches so far. And I always say, like, I don't love seeing people wrestling multiple times in the same week and things like that. But in a 2-week span, like since he showed up, like they've immediately established him as a very credible contender for anything in that company. So a loss isn't always the worst thing in the world.
In 11 days, he looked better than he ever did in the 5 years on the main roster of
Yeah,
WWE.
absolutely.
That's for sure. And it's like, what about you, DC? I mean, do you have any thoughts on this past week's Dynamite? Was it too much? And obviously, if you don't have your DVR set to go late, you did not catch Tekla winning the title in the strap match. But you have any thoughts on that?
I was not expecting this week's Dynamite to be that good, considering how good tonight was shaping up to be.
Yes.
So part of me is a little apprehensive going into tonight, knowing what they have to do to top that. But if there's a roster and a company that can do it, it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no problem with Fletcher winning. Again, my big problem was enough. No offense to Mark Briscoe, but enough. Like, I don't care that you guys have wrestled each other 6 times and you're 3-3. Like, because I'm pretty sure they did the same thing when they were 2-2, and they're like, oh, we got to have the 5th match. We got to see, and we're just like kind of rehashing that. Yeah, but I would say Fletcher and Takeshita. Like, those are the 2 big guys who, while they had established work outside of AEW, they've turned into huge stars there. And kind of like RT said, definitely too early to think about a Fletcher face turn, because Takeshita has to be the first person to break away from the family.
Well, once the face
I
turn
would
happens,
think.
you gotta assume once the face turn does happen, Fletcher will be up in the heavyweight title in that range. But remember when he came in with Osprey, they were like, just a tag team when he first came in and everything, and just the development in Fletcher since then. I mean, obviously he spends a lot of time on his physique and wrestling skill as well. So it was like, I think, yeah, Fletcher, he's the closest thing to a homegrown guy, I guess, because he was, he obviously came in as a wrestler, but he's definitely advanced incredibly since he debuted a couple of years ago, as a tag team with Osprey. So, it was but the only thing is I was a little disappointed because I wanted Statlander to have a longer run. I wanted, you would assume, I mean, the size differential between them when they had the strap between them, I mean, Statlander was so much bigger than Tekla out there. They did some fun stuff with the strap, and it did, obviously went, but it went Tekla's way and everything, and we'll see where they go with that. I mean, is it going to be a long run for Tekla, or is Tekla going to transition to somebody else? I guess the show ended with Tekla kind of, celebrating there at the end, but not a lot of, her crew came out, and
I feel like her reign's going to be a bit longer, just in my mind, because I don't see the clear-cut person right now that's going to take the title off of her.
Yeah, I'm thinking through right now. I can't. I mean, the booking has been a little weird on portions of that women's division, and yeah, in terms of a fresh baby face to take that belt from her, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because I like, obviously at some point Mercedes will be back, but she should be back as a heel. She should be challenging for that belt at some point this year. I guess for me now, it's like, okay, so we had the women's world title change tonight. We could have a women's tag title change. Can we do something? You guys have a TBS title still, right? Who's going for
the
that?
TBS champion's too busy defending the tag titles.
It's almost like maybe people shouldn't have the ability to challenge for other titles when they already have one. Speaking of which, I know it's not his fault. I really Mike Bailey's one of my favorite people in the wrestling business. And I know he's just saying what he was told to be said, but that promo about like, we're coming for this gold, we're coming for this gold, we're coming for this. No, pick a title that you want and then focus on defending that. I'm so sick of champions going for other belts. That TBS title currently is irrelevant after you took it off of Mercedes for what at this point? You didn't need to put the tag belts on Willow and Harley at that point. You could have given those to them after Willow drops the TBS title.
You know, I'm guessing is probably Mercedes was like, I'm taking some time off. And it's like, I'm taking time off at this point. And that's what obviously Mercedes has been doing, is taking time off from at least AEW TV. And so like, well, we got to do something with this before she takes time off. And so maybe that was forced.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, I don't have an issue with that because I think I think her taking a break is a good thing. I just don't like the way that they went with a former champion taking that belt back and then not defending it, and nobody's been like, hey Willow, like, yeah, you're tag champion, but like I want that singles title you have. Nobody has like gone after that. Like she doesn't have a TBS title feud at this point. I don't Has she even defended it? I'd have to look it up.
I don't think so.
No.
That's the interesting thing is with having too many titles, that's probably one of the downfalls to it is, you have to build up a program with every title to keep them relevant, and if you don't, you've got to remember who has it, it's like, who's
Well,
got that?
they can drop those tag titles tonight, which I think is the right decision. And it could further establish. I mean, you could have Harley take the pin in her home country, uh, through dirty fashion and establish Megabad as. I mean, they should be the tag champs at this point. I think Penelope's been doing really great work since she came back from injury, as well. But Megan is obviously the star of that team. And I like that if they weren't going to put a singles title on her yet, I like that they've transitioned her into this tag title or tag team run for now, keeping her on TV consistently. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to that match tonight. There was that mention there of Moxley, and honestly, I hadn't even thought yet today about that Continental title match tonight, as well, because there's a lot of a lot of the decisions of matches to happen. That part of the booking has been a little, I don't want to say questionable, but it's made me think at times like, okay, so what are you going to do now that you have to have this match? Moxley is establishing himself as a baby face. He's getting good reactions. He hasn't really defended that belt yet since winning the C2. I think. But you cannot have Takeshita take another loss right now. And Moxley's not in a position where he can win dirty at this point. I mean, theoretically, his stablemates could help him win. And
And
I don't know, he could be upset with that. And then that could push that story of him turning face against them or something.
They're still heels, right? I mean,
I think they are still heels and he's not. So maybe that's the way they go. Maybe they help him win the match. He gets pissed at them. And then like this helps develop that face turn. That's something you could do.
And there's some people available that could assist the Death Riders.
True.
I would like to see at least the Death Riders and Don Callis's crew at least have one significant 3-on-3 or whatever before. I mean, we did get that this past week on Dynamite. We got
their match on Dynamite was fairly good.
It was, but I would like to see something for like money, something for more of the money. I mean, because those guys they're all heels out there, except for, like you said, Mox. Mox is over with and so it's like, it kind of, and maybe I'm just being selfish because I want another Shield versus Bray Wyatt's family. I want another all heel threesomes versus each other for something. And that, I don't know if they're even close to that, but they are, they're defined as heels for both those groups. And if there was something for, big win out of it. I don't know.
Well, that's the other thing they could do too, is even if they don't do what I was saying about like babyface Mox, being helped, like you could clearly do the other way where, the heels try to help Moxley win and it backfires, and then Moxley remains a face, but he's upset with them because they cost him that title, and that furthers the tension there or whatever. Because I don't think you can stretch out this turn too much longer. I mean, people were really sick of the Death Riders a year ago, and I don't know. The tough part is that Moxley is a babyface now, but still needs more of a turn to establish that, to cement that. The other people in the stable, I think they're still supposed to be heels, but even like, Claudia goes out there, gets some good reactions from the crowd, has some of these deadlift suplexes and stuff that are just insane, absolutely insane. Like he's not human. But he's getting some cheers and stuff too. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see the entire stable as baby faces. I don't want to see Marina Shafir as a baby face, but and obviously Yuta just can't be. Nor should you take away that the crowd loving to hate on Wheeler Yuta, which I assume they will have some fun tonight as he gets his head shaved or whatever. So
I disagree. That's not where I want to see that match go.
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to see Marina Shafir get her head shaved? No.
Nope.
Tony Storm with no hair,
Yep.
wearing different wigs each week.
Yep. I totally see her channeling Catherine O'Hara as Moira Rose with different wigs each week.
Interesting. Yeah. So it probably has already happened. So if you guys in the chat room seen it already, don't let us know or don't
tell us.
I'm nervous about seeing spoilers today because honestly, I mean that we still have only mentioned like half of the card.
Yeah.
This is literally, like I said it last week or whatever, but it got even more this week. Like this is bigger than a pay-per-view card.
It is.
I mean, this is a more intriguing 2.5 hour card to me than multiple AEW pay-per-views. We don't even have to get into the AEW versus WWE thing.
Well, they're building it up like a pay-per-view. I mean, that's for sure. And
they're putting on free TV tonight what I would never in a million years pay to see from WWE when they present WrestleMania.
I would take 5% of this card over any WrestleMania in the past 15 years.
So the one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the Brody King versus
the main event,
MJF. And the thing, and there was a lot of controversy going on this past week because Brody King did not show up live on Dynamite this week to promote it. And a lot of people are saying that, Warner Brothers Discovery, like maybe kept him off because of the chance of the fan. Warner Brothers Discovery actually was reading these posts and actually did put out a statement saying they had nothing to do with Brody King not being on Dynamite. They don't care if the people are chanting F ICE, but people are saying that there's a lot of people, people like to make up rumors. Oh, they probably stopped him from coming on because you know what? There's no truth behind it whatsoever. Brody King did have a backstage tape thing going on. And, maybe half the guys went over to Australia earlier in the week to promote this event. So it's not,
including MJF. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, MJF has had some things to say this week, man. I love it when because he talks, he doesn't care. He crosses lines. You saw the thing about Becky Lynch and him, right? Where he was like saying he's a huge fan of hers, and then she said something about Forbidden Door in a post about even people from behind Forbidden Doors can enjoy it, and so there was a little going back and forth, self admirations going on, but it's been a big week for them in there, and it's like so Brody King and MJF. I mean, we were talking last week that could it happen? I mean, with the groundswell of support Brody King has been getting, could it happen? Could he take it from MJF?
I'd love to see it. I just need a glimmer of hope. I need a bright spot right now.
You're talking about more than just wrestling with that, right?
Yes. It would mean more than just what it means in the wrestling ring.
Oh yeah. Oh, it would. If only somebody could take a wrestling belt and hit Pam Bondi in the head with it. I feel less confident today than I did maybe a week ago about that being a potential title change. I think we're going to get through this week with at least 3, maybe 4 title changes without even talking about this match. That kind of helps justify maybe this not being a title change. I think for me, I would love to see the title change. I'm gonna guess now if I have to predict that it's not a title change tonight, though I would like to see it. But I guess I'm more intrigued about what they do with the Hangman Andrade match to set up the contender for Revolution. I still, I think that's in my mind one of the most important decisions of the booking for tonight. Especially because to me, Revolution feels like a bigger deal because it has so much time to be built up compared to all the other pay-per-views. I think this is the time where, again, you need to continue to establish guys, and Andrade, in my mind, needs to win that match tonight. Do I think he will? I don't know. I really don't know. I could totally see them just giving Hanger the win again, and I just don't think that's the right choice right now. Hangman's still a very established main eventer with multiple world title reigns and does not need that win. And
He's also a
Andrade can
trios
win
champion.
dirty.
He could kind of focus on that for a little bit, maybe.
So
What's that?
I'm sure you saw the thing that Andrade is like been put in the position that Samoa Joe was supposed to be put in because of Samoa Joe's injury. Because apparently Samoa Joe was supposed to be in the title picture
Yeah, and
for a long
I
stretch.
don't like that. To me, like I don't want Joe injured. Don't get me like absolutely not. Like it, and Joe has a place on this roster, no doubt about it. But he just had the title again. I like the mentions of him, how he would have potentially been like competing for the title right now and stuff. I'm glad that's not happening because we got to freshen things up here. And that's like, I
That's
mean,
what
we were talking about all these other people here, these four contenders and stuff. Like, there's no reason to go right back to the guy who just had the title.
But
So
Kenny
I,
Omega was saying in an interview this week, he said that he came out and said that we need to freshen up the top people in this company because can't keep mixing and matching the same guys, you know? And it's like,
that makes me a little nervous though. Like all things considered, that the more and more I hear about Omega and kind of limiting the matches and stuff, that we might not get another world title reign from him, which I really would like to see that at some point. It's got to be the right timing and everything, and I don't think that's right now. But to me, Bill, honestly, like I've plenty of times on this show, I have talked about like Andrade's a good wrestler and all this, but like he's not really my guy, and stuff. And obviously, like there's part of that too that I didn't really like him much after the whole stuff with Sammy. Obviously, I'm partial to Sammy, and that
yeah.
made me not like Andrade and stuff. And then you leave and whatever comes back. All of that aside, like I'm all for Andrade challenging for that belt at Revolution. I think the more I think about it, I don't necessarily see MJF dropping the belt to anybody at Revolution. I think he retains that night, regardless of who the challenger is. And you build it up more for either a title change at Double or Nothing, or, depending on when Osprey's back, there's a lot of stuff you could do. But establish Andrade as not a mid card guy. Give him the win tonight. Let him main event a pay per view and be in that top tier of your company. Even if you don't give him the belt yet, I mean that establishes that you have another certified main eventer at that point, which I don't think he's at yet, and he certainly was not at in his first run in the company. But to me, out of all of these challengers, out of Omega and Swerve, even Joe, Hangman, Andrade is the guy that you should. This is kind of organic right now. Let him get to that next step.
oh no, I
I
agree.
feel like this is the easiest opportunity for the booking to disappoint me today. So we'll see what happens. And
Yeah,
please, nobody spoil it for me on
yeah,
social media today.
yeah. No, believe
But
me,
we'll see what happens on that. I have a feeling that'll
don't.
happen too.
I will say, don't go on social media. I already saw something I didn't want to see. I'm pretending I didn't see it.
Why do
But
people do
yeah, I
this?
don't know. Yeah, there was, but I won't look at it again until after the show. So just tune out. But yeah, no,
I just wanted to pull up the card for tonight's show, which maybe you have that in the news, but
yeah,
I like started to Google search. I was like, nope, because I know if I go on anywhere, even if I try to go to Cage Match and like not scroll down and click to the card instead of like the card will still update if something changes with them. Like I'm not looking at anything. But
While we're at it, we might as well go through. I'll go through very quickly and tell you what's going to be on the card tonight. Okay, so we, so people know who don't tune in, don't see the spoilers, but spoiler free. You got Tony Storm, Orange Cassidy versus Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta in a tornado tag match. Person who is pinned submits will have their head shaved. That's the first. We got Hangman Page versus Andrade for a shot at the AEW World Championship. We just talked about that. John Moxley versus Takeshita for the AEW Continental Championship. Will Nightingale, Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford for the AEW Women's titles. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe in a ladder match for the TNT Championship. MJF versus Brody King for the AEW World Championship. That's what we got going on tonight. It starts at 8:00. Sounds like a pay-per-view. It's well worth it. It's going to probably go long. So if you do set your DVRs, set them long because
they've already said that it's at least 2.5 hours. So it is definitely going past 10. It's definitely going to at least 10:30 Eastern. But yeah, I mean that was what 4 title matches plus another 2. It's going to take 2.5 hours. But I this is the most I've looked forward to a televised wrestling card in a very long time.
Yeah. This is,
and it's not even live. I really wish it could be live. I would be watching it this morning if
it
they
probably would have been on before we aired if it was live. Or
would have gotten up to watch that. Yeah,
probably would have been on right now as we were talking. So, but I mean, they want to draw the ratings, so and they will. And
that's the problem too. Is I mean, I hate to even say this, but like, if again, I don't think it's happening, but if Brody King beats MJF, is that not going to get all over social media hours and hours before the show even airs? Of course it will. Yeah. So it's almost that I still want that to be the result, but
I'm guessing if it's 12 hours difference, then they're going on right now still. So it could be towards the
13
hours. Okay. So
maybe. And I know it was starting 7:30 local, but I don't know if they were doing other matches too.
They also had a house show last night too, I think.
Tomorrow.
Or tomorrow night. That's right. They're having a house show.
Tomorrow they're in Brisbane, I think.
House rules.
Maybe.
So that's the opportunity for them to see some other people. But the best thing, one, there's no competition on. There's no football going on. The Olympics will be their competition, I guess. And it's all Olympics are taped at that time as well, 8:00 at night.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, like the men's game today is at 3:10 Eastern. So that'll be done well before. So yeah, no, it's a good spot to be in.
I noticed that since football season really has wound down, that wrestling numbers have gone up for people watching. So,
and for somebody like me too, it's there's a very big GCW show tonight from LA, but that doesn't start till 11 Eastern, so that's perfect as well. I mean, it's a lot of wrestling back to back, but yeah, it's a good day for entertainment on the screen.
Yeah. Put that pot of coffee on at 8:00 at night.
Yeah, I need to put it on now, but yeah, have it still going at that point. Yeah,
seriously. So, let's see. Let's move on a little bit because that's really the biggest thing we wanted to talk about. Oh, I do want to mention, and then we'll get to the news here. But yeah, I mentioned the Brody King thing. So Royce Keys is formerly Powerhouse Hobbs has disappeared since he made his debut at the Royal Rumble, but apparently last night wrestled on the syndicated show before SmackDown was taped or SmackDown went live. So, he is now getting his debut finally, and
that's a little disappointing.
Auspicious debut,
especially after 2 weeks after Rumble, and it's like he shows up at the Rumble and then disappears completely for 2 Raws, and SmackDown, any of their major shows. So. I
mean, I'm all for them finding ways to get him reps, but I don't know if a guy who hasn't appeared on television yet should be going right to the C shows, the D shows, whatever you want to call. I don't even know what show that is. What is that? Is that main event?
Main event.
Superstars, yeah. Jacked Metal.
One of those.
Velocity.
Saturday night's main event. No,
Shotgun Saturday
night heat.
Yeah, Saturday.
Wrestling Challenge.
Yeah,
Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
Those are the ones we don't see in America most of the time, I think. They used to be on GN for a while, and I have no idea where they air now.
Speed.
To the troops.
So yeah, we can definitely support the guy, but he just disappeared. I mean, it was like they almost rushed him because he signed like the week before the for the Royal Rumble. So, it's like, let's throw them out there before we ever do any sort of character development with them or anything, integrating them into anything going on, which, because that's why they had to announce him as Powerhouse Hobbs as well. So, before they switch his name on the big board. It's interesting the way they do things. I think that was kind of that was a gut call. That was like, yeah, let's put him in there anyways, even though we don't know anything about him except for the fact that we signed him, you know. Which then they had I guess this past week they had a big meeting with him in Stamford and they figured out, his plan to what he's going to be doing and stuff like that. So, we'll see him eventually, I think, on one of the channels and stuff. But that was one thing I wanted to bring up. And then what else did I have on my list there? Oh yeah, TNA. Rob, you tipped us off to it last night. TNA is coming to Syracuse, April 14th and 15th, I believe. They're coming for two TV tapings in Syracuse. They have
Which interestingly, isn't that like a Tuesday and Wednesday?
Yeah, it's a Tuesday and Wednesday.
So you're not even like why one of them should be a Thursday where you could do one night of TV, but I guess I don't know. I do understand like if you need multiple weeks of TV that you can't do Wednesday, Thursday, and then tape like next week's the first night so you can be live on Thursday. Obviously, I just always want live TV, but
yeah.
Good to see somebody going to Syracuse because I still don't understand why the other company we were just talking about has not gone to Syracuse yet in their 6+ years, whatever.
Didn't they come to Syracuse when the week they were in Rochester? I think
AEW?
Oh, I'm sorry, not AEW. I'm talking about WWE. Sorry. Yeah, AEW hasn't been up here since they were at the first or the KeyBank in Buffalo. I think that was the last time they've come anywhere around.
I don't understand how AEW's never done Syracuse. To me, like that's a perfect arena for them. So
the On Center or whatever.
I hate to call that place a perfect arena. I mean, I have a lot of history there. I probably had concussions there and stuff, but like, it still should be hosting. Yeah. It's a good size for a Dynamite or even a Collision sometime.
Oh yeah, it's perfect size. It's the first place I ever saw Luke Harper wrestling for WWE, and we went for that show.
Yep.
That was and then we saw Amanda there, and she let us sit in her seats 8 or 6 rows from the ring or whatever. I remember turning around and seeing a bunch of these perverted kids with pictures of Lana topless on their phones, showing him to other people. It was bad. I was like, man, there's kids here, dude. I had to tell that guy, dude. It's like, dude, there's kids here, man. Don't be doing that. It's like, yeah, but you know what? It's wrestling fans. So, hey, yeah, that's also the place where when we were sitting with Danny and Mark and everybody, we had the ceiling actually touched my head where our seats were. If I had to crouch down to get to my seat because I was hitting my head on the concrete above it. So interesting, but it's a great place if you're going to go watch TNA. That's for sure. In fact, we had TNA had a pay-per-view last night, No Surrender, on their TNA Plus app, and I think the biggest thing that came out of that is Santino Morella's daughter is now the champion, women's champion, the Knockouts champion of TNA. Ariana Grace, I think her name is. She won the title last night. And it's interesting because she has her own sock in her tights and she used it. Like what do you call it? The Cobra or whatever, she has her own Cobra and that's what led her to winning the title, that and her finisher. But that happened last night and TNA was heavily hyping it. They were going to have to change their structure, the way they do things if they're going to be on like network TV or whatever, or, a big, instead of having pay-per-views only on their streaming service. I think they're going to have to change things, but
I don't know if I saw this wrong or not. I did not catch any of the show last night, but I at least want to see Bill Collier's match. But the show is airing on TV this week as Impact? Did I see that wrong? I don't know. Like, it made it sound like you could watch it last night on TNA Plus or whatever, or you'd get to see it as Impact this coming week, which I guess is how they could fill another week of TV because I'm constantly curious about like how they're filling all these weeks when they are only doing tapings like every like almost month. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they did like their last three shows were in the same place, I think. So, yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I assume that they probably when they do a Friday night pay-per-view, then or whatever they call it, that usually they do that weekend. They do their tapings for their TV after that. But I'm not sure. I mean, I would not mind watching it because they had a bunch of titles change, obviously. No big surprises besides Ariana Grace defeating Lee or whatever her name is, who was the champion, who's actually a great wrestler champion. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to see that though. I don't know. I usually watch it every week, so but they had like 10 matches on the pay per view. I'm guessing it definitely probably could fit in 2 hours. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question. I did not remember. Sometimes I watch it when I'm watching it and I'm like doing other things at the same time, but I've still got it on. And so I don't always hear everything they say, but I can go back and watch it today. But interesting if they do that. I've not seen that they're doing a taping today. So I don't know, but they did have their No Surrender pay-per-view last night. And uh, they have a few like they had Lorenzo Stacks, who is an NXT wrestler. He held like their Continental title, and he ended up dropping it last night on the pay per view. He dropped it to I can't remember to Trey Miguel. So they called it the TNA International Championship or whatever. They ended up dropping it to Trey Miguel, and I think that, Trey Miguel, obviously they're rewarding some certain people coming in there and everything. They draw their tag team titles changed as well. So they had a huge, 3 titles change on the pay-per-view last night. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've been following it and, I think they're doing a great job. They definitely, obviously a rough start coming on AMC, much better recently, but it's got like WWE's handprints all over the style they do things and everything. So it's, it won't be long before I'm guessing we're going to hear that they were sold to them, or it seems only logical, especially since Tony Khan could have bought them and didn't a few years ago. So it means that obviously we're always for sale. Good thing is they're not putting their owner or Carlos Silva on TV anymore. They did that for a couple of weeks and they realized that stunk. So uh, stick with the wrestlers. You don't need to put these guys on, but that was, so let me jump to some news and we'll get out of here. And I probably already talked about most of the news already, but I do want to bring up that right off the bat that, well, I mentioned Bron Breakker being hurt, being out possibly 6 months. WWE just hired a new coach for their training facilities. That's Jazz. You might remember Jazz from ECW. She joined their performance center training staff, so that's a big plus for the women's wrestling because I believe Jazz is a WWE Hall of Famer. Very, very short
think
time,
so.
very short time in WWE, but still is a Hall of Famer.
She was in a WrestleMania match, at least one of them. So that
Who's her husband?
was it
Rodney Mack?
her?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is her husband Rodney Mack?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they've been like training people and I think running indie shows in Texas. But yeah, wasn't that like Trish versus Lita versus Jazz at Mania 18 in Toronto, maybe? I think that was the match that went on after that went in the death spot after Hogan and Rock
Oh boy.
before Jericho and Triple H. Imagine being like, "Yep, okay, go get your 3 minute match or whatever. You're following Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania.
They rationalize it. Trish Stratus will be in the
You're
match.
set up for success there." Yeah.
Trish is a local. They'll cheer her. Yeah. It's quiet. I've heard quiet women matches on Mania before. Doesn't surprise me, but congratulations to Jazz on that. So I'd mentioned Royce Keys, formerly Powerhouse Hobbs, did have a dark match on WWE Main Event. That was the show, by the way, and squared off against Nathan Frazier of Fraxium. So it's like I'm not sure who won. I don't really care who won, I guess, but one sad news is Chelsea Green broke her ankle this past week. I think she did it on SmackDown last week. She was in the match to determine who was going to go into the Elimination Chamber, and I think she broke it there, but she didn't realize it was broken until she went to AAA. She was supposed to defend the mixed tag team title she has with Ethan Page as her partner, and she showed a picture of her ankle and it was like purple, and so they weren't sure how bad it was, and it was technically it is she did suffer a broken ankle. So even though she had a broken ankle, she was on SmackDown last night in a wheelchair with a pink robe over it or whatever. It was I feel bad for her because she's had like some of the stupidest things happen to her since she joined WWE. Things that like, stopped her from advancing. That's why she's probably become such a great personality, is because of all the injuries she's had to deal with. But so she's currently dealing with a broken ankle. I did see Matt Cardona. He was in a match last night as well. So they're kind of, we're inserting him into SmackDown programming. He did not win, obviously. They had like a 4-on-4 to start the show. And it was in the first hour, I think. Yeah. But, so both husband and wife were there last night. I did mention that not only is TNA coming to Syracuse on those dates, but they're also going to be in Cleveland, Ohio, and that's where they're going to be doing the Syracuse shows are going to be Fallout from the Rebellion pay-per-view, which will be the weekend before. Then they're going to be doing it's Tuesday and Wednesday, April 14th to 15th in Syracuse, and it's the Upstate Medical Arena at the On Center War Memorial. That's the name of the arena officially. It's like that long. Tickets go on sale. Pre-sale starts on February 25th. You can also get tickets for meet and greets and stuff like that. So you definitely, if you want to go out to Syracuse and see TNA wrestling for 2 days, I think it's like spring break in high schools then, I think. So it might be a good thing, maybe. Who knows? Maybe I'll go. I'd like to go check it out in the On Center. I'm not going to pay exorbitant amounts for the tickets, but beyond that, I don't have much other news beyond that. I'm thinking, I'm more excited with tonight's AEW Collision. That's probably done recording already, but I can't think. Is there anything else going on that we should talk about?
No, like I said, I mean, I think we'll have more info for the GCW Rochester show after tonight and tomorrow's shows in LA and Phoenix. I know we mentioned last week that Brody Lee Jr. will be making an appearance. It was announced this week as well that the Blade will be wrestling on the show. And I know Jordan Oliver and Alec Price, who I'm hoping get another AEW TV match soon. Hopefully Wednesday or whatever, because they're not on the card for tonight. They'll be defending the GCW World Tag Titles against Vandal 48 that night, which I won't be a hypocrite and say that Atticus Cogar is the world champion and Otis Cogar is the ultra violent champion. So two champions challenging for other belts. It was a conversation earlier, but those GCW belts could change even tonight or something too. So we'll see. But
Very cool. So is the Butcher under contract? Are both of the guys, Butcher and Blade, still under contract with AEW?
as far as I know, yes.
Okay, so I know that they probably were just getting time off, obviously, with the injuries and the injury that happened or surgery that happened. I'm guessing that injury probably was something he was dealing with for a while, and then
Yeah, that is the last I knew. And I mean, I talk with both of them, but I don't really talk wrestling usually. But the Bunny is not, but Butcher and Blade are at this point. So I don't know. There's been more and more people that are just like, why don't you just put him in a trio with Champa, which would be pretty sick, as people were saying, as the kids would say these days. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So
well, it makes me wonder what Gargano. Well, how long is Gargano destined to stay in WWE? Because he, I mean, I know they're good friends, and they don't always do obviously what everybody does, but it's like a week ago they had a thing where Gargano was like stretched out on a like a portable bed or whatever, like a hospital bed, and it has NXT written on it, and he's just sitting there and depressed. And Candice LeRae is like, "Can you guys say something to make him be happier?" And it's like they weren't even referring to Ciampa being gone, but that's what obviously the wrestling community, internet wrestling community, probably assumed. For the last couple of times he's been on, he's been like prone and not doing anything. So hopefully, I'd love to see him, show up as well. And I love Champa. He did an interview this past week where he talked about how he wants to come in like he was in NXT with WWE. He's like in his best shape of his life. He said he's ready to do what he was doing then, because he said the last couple of years being on SmackDown have been terrible, which especially when you get limited time. Remember when the Motor City Machine Guns were a big deal? Whatever happened to them? They don't even, they're in the
Tap
back,
tap.
they're in the background of a scene, maybe in the backstage area, just, it's as much as you want WWE to hire these great wrestlers, man, WWE sometimes doesn't know what to do with them, especially when they have their top four are solid and there's no leeway into joining and getting up in the upper echelon in that
Well, I thought
company
the narrative was Tony Khan using his dad's money to get all these toys and then doing nothing with them. You're saying it happened somewhere else too? Oh, wow.
all the time. It's
Hmm.
like, it's when those guys like, I'm sick of just sitting and catering, that's what you hear.
Yeah. And I don't blame them, but I mean, catering sounds great right now. So,
That's for sure. You're going to feed me? I'll be there. All right. Cool. On that note, we're going to get out of here a little bit shorter today just because, we're building up a big show tonight and it's going to happen sometime, about 9 hours from now or less than 9 hours, a little bit less than that. And I'm excited for it. But I've got to go out and buy a washing machine and maybe some lemon pepper steppers too while I'm out. Sorry. I was going to work that word in. That's what, what's his name says on WWE. You guys don't watch it, so you don't know. It's Trick Williams. He wears his lemon pepper steppers, which to me are yellow sneakers, or yellow shoes or something. So people pop for it. Okay, I don't know why, but they do. But guys, we're gonna get out of here. I want to
go
thank
for
you guys.
some lemon pepper wings though. So,
Not me. I like some garlic freaking parm wings. I'd take that. Guys, we're going to let you go. It's about lunchtime, so it seems appropriate to talk about food to get out of here. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you.